Howdy do, buckaroos. Welcome back to the channel. Just got the Racetruck in here. Nothing too crazy this episode, but we're putting the headlight back in this thing. The headlight. So, I got a boot ordered up, and we are going to end up putting the technical cold air intake back on this thing. It actually goes right through that old headlight spot with a velocity stack on it that I was explaining in the last video. And we're going to get that put back on here today. It's the same pipe that I had on it last time, but with a new boot, because the old S372 inlet was 4-inch and the pipe's 4-inch, so I had a 4-to-4 90-degree boot. Easy enough. Well, now this turbo is a 5-inch, as I said in the last video, so I had to order a 5-to-4-inch 90-degree boot. But it's here. Got it from siliconeintakes.com. They're fairly local to us, a few hours away here in Colorado, so got to support the local guys, and they have great boots for great prices. So I'm going to flip it around. We're going to kind of go through the parts list here and show you guys what I got going on and what's going on the truck, and we will get it put on, and we will go from there. Alright guys, so got the intake here. Now, fair warning, it is not the prettiest. That was something I put together when I was learning to weld, and I put it together at about 11 o'clock at night with spare pipe we had laying around, because the intake on my old turbo was just like that, and I knew I didn't want that hot heat coming right off the up pipes back there. So I wanted to come up with a intake that got cold air, and what better cold air than right out of the front of the truck. The faster you go, the more air and the colder air you get. So that's when I came up with this guy at about 11 o'clock at night. So, and it's got some cross bolts in it just to keep everybody safe if it happens to come out the front of the turbo, which they usually don't, but here we are. So here's the 5-to-4-inch 90-degree boot, which the 5-inch end goes like so on the front of the turbo, which then goes into here, comes all the way down. The headlight actually sits right here, so this much of the boot sticks out, which is just enough to slide that guy on and get a clamp on it. Boom. A little boom tube, little forced air, and I explained in the last video why I use a velocity stack, because this is a 4-inch hole, and if you just had this 4-inch hole coming out, sure, that's great, you're still getting cold air. But what a velocity stack does is it's got a radius here, or curve, and this is about 8 inches in diameter, so you're in essence taking 8 inches worth of air in a circle here, 8 inches, and you're forcing it into this 4-inch hole with the curve. So what that does is it increases the intake velocity, because you're forcing 8 inches of air into a 4-inch hole, kind of like the 10 pounds of you-know-what in a 5-pound sack. So same principle, and it creates more air velocity, and it forces it into that turbo, which I don't have any concrete numbers, but I can say this did make a difference on the old setup, so I'm excited to see what it does on this setup. But then we got our clamps here, got the clamp here for the front, but I'm gonna kind of prop this up. We're gonna get the intake slap back on, and we're gonna fire it up and see. And full disclosure, I went and ripped this thing up the road, and it actually blew my injection pump supply line off, because this is a push lock fitting, but it turns out this is not push lock hose. So it got hot, high pressure with that in-cab fuel controller, and it blew this line plumb off, and there's a pool of diesel down here. So we're gonna get this intake on. Another reason I want to do it is so I can not have this open turbo sitting right here. I can back it out of the shop and wash all this diesel off this thing. So I'm gonna prop you guys up. We're gonna get this slapped on, and we are gonna back it out and wash it. Alright guys, hopefully you can see me all good, but we're going to start out with the boot, with the big 5-inch clamp, and the turbo has a lip on it that's 5 1/8 of an inch, so it kind of makes it a pain to get this. I don't know if you can see in the video, but it's a 6-ply boot, which is kind of overkill for an intake, but it's going to do the job. And this was only $26, which if you look at this boot, a comparable boot at different companies, they ranged from $100 to $150. So I'm perfectly fine with going overkill for cheap. So we're going to get this slapped on. Oh, there we go. Get her about level. Make sure this guy's where you want it. And I'm going to leave all the clamps loose until we get the pipe on. Make sure everything's lined up the way we want it. And then we're going to tighten everything up. So, the way I designed this pipe, it kind of goes in one piece. It can kind of be a pain. We're going to see how it is with this boot. But you kind of put it in, got to feed the boot through the headlight. So you kind of feed it in at an angle. Digging the toolbox here. I got this fancy hose pick tool here to grab onto a boot and slide it over. Just like so. Get it about clocked into place. And as you guys see, the mount here actually goes to where the fan shroud would be, because this is a Dodge radiator out of a 2nd generation style Cummins, a 94 to 02. And this is where their fan shrouds bolt on, and that's actually where I made my mount. So just have this little bolt here that runs through this guy. Bob's your uncle. We'll make sure that's lined up. We'll make sure that I can get the velocity stack on good, which the tightening for the clamp goes on this side because there's plenty of room. And then we will snug everything up and should be good to go. Pretty straightforward install because this came off this truck. Sorry. The only difference is this boot, which I guess the turbo size too, it's a bigger frame turbo, this being an S400 Borg Warner frame turbo compared to my S300, but it was close enough that it looks like everything's going to work out just fine. The mount's even lined up and everything. So let's get this bolt started. I'm going to get the velocity stack on. Oh, see, I already messed up. Forgot the clamp right there. So I'm going to have to either pull the pipe back out or just loosen that clamp up all the way and wrap it around, then restart the clamp. But either way, we're going to get that clamp on there, get this bolt in, get the velocity stack on, and we should be good to go. So I'm going to try and prop you guys back up. Should be good there, hopefully. My apologies if the phone falls off. You're actually propped up on a spray bottle of wax at the moment, so I am taking donations on tripods. Just kidding. Maybe. I'm gonna reach in the toolbox here, hopefully without knocking you guys over, and grab a wrench. I'm going to wait to tighten that all the way down until we get the velocity stack on. Sorry. Guess this is the downside of digging through the used clamp bin to find a clamp. This one's kind of being a pain. Built this whole truck from scratch and I'm getting my butt whooped by a hose clamp. Got it. Okay, got the clamp around the pipe now. So now we're going to slide the monocle on, the headlight, the old velocity stack. And just snugged up against the headlight there. Use the old electric ratchet with this thing is a lifesaver if you work on a diesel all day. Works great for intercooler boots and clamps and things like that. It's an extra deep 11, so it has plenty of room for the extra stud on the clamp to go through. It is a Matco socket. It is A as in apple, X as in X-ray, D as in dog, 1 1, M as in mouse, 8. So this is a lifesaver. Gonna use that guy, and that is not a paid sponsorship or anything. This socket is just a lifesaver. Make sure we're nice and straight. Just need to snug it because that is pretty thin wall aluminum. Don't want to crush it. So we got that on there. Make sure everything else is good and straight. Everything else is looking good, so I'm going to snug up this bracket on the radiator. That is snugged up. So now we're going to tighten our clamps up here. Now get this big guy up here. There we go. As you can see, look at that. Now there's the headlight right there. The monocle, Monopoly Man, whatever you want to call it. There's the horsepower. As you can see, this guy bolts up nicely right here. And then it's pretty sturdy for being silicone on one end, but got our clamp down. Nothing super fancy, but I love it, and it's in. Let's get an aerial view right here. Look at that. I've been told it resembled as a 6.7 Power Stroke, just mirrored, because on a 6.7 Power Stroke they are also a watered air intercooler setup. But everything they have, the intercooler is on the driver's side on a 6.7 Ford. and the intake's on the passenger side, and I'm exactly flipped. But I make it look way better than a 6.7 Power Stroke does, guys. Do you agree? Look at that. I could stare at that all day. But got her all in, of course, got a rep. And like I said, it's nothing pretty, but this was thrown together at about 11 o'clock one night, so it works exactly fine for what I need it for. But get this thing backed out now that the turbo's kind of sealed up and the intake's all the way over here now. We're going to get this diesel mess washed up, and then I will come back at you guys here in a minute. Alright guys, so as you can see, got her all washed up, got all diesel fuel flushed off of it and things like that, so I just didn't want that to sink into anything, make anything all oily, greasy, and I didn't want to forget about it until I went to the track or something crazy. But, pardon me. But we got the intake on like I was talking about in the last video. I think that's going to make a big improvement. I know it did on the old setup. And I'm super excited to see how it does with this big turbo and shoving all that air into its mouth. Cold air, not the air off the up pipes anymore. So nice cold fresh air with that velocity stack, just feeding it into it. The faster you go, the faster the air goes in. So I think it's going to make a big difference. And it's just one more step to beating the record from last year. So nothing too crazy. I apologize. There's going to be some cool stuff coming up. It's not going to be this weekend. Got some stuff planned with the family this weekend, but we have 2 more weekends until the last local Friday night race of the year. So we got plenty of time to get some stuff tuned in on this thing. I'm going to show you guys kind of how to do a homebrew alignment. We're going to see how that works out. I did it on the ground with the tape measure as it sits now just to get the wheels halfway straight. And I think I will tie in a video here, but I was watching some old footage that my friend Connor got of me at the track last time at the starting line. And to me, it looks like the front tires are kind of towed in, and I don't think that's helping at all, especially with these grippy slicks. That's a lot of resistance going down the track and everything. So we're going to try and do an alignment on it. And what else was I going to do? The alignment. Oh, we're going to do that timing, of course. That's going to be a pretty cool one. We're going to have the radiator out, and I'm going to have the front of the motor off so I can kind of show you guys how I have everything set up, how I'm going to set it up. And I'm probably going to run it without the front clip on it just so we can see the timing light easier and the timing marks and things like that. But that's for a later video. And we just have a few more things to tie up, a little bit more weight to shed off this thing, and we'll be one step closer to racing and hopefully breaking the record. So just trying to keep you guys updated in the loop, show you that every little step counts, just trying to show you guys everything, all my thought processes going into this. But please stay tuned. You guys are awesome with all the likes, shares, and subscribes. Although about 70% of my viewers are not subscribed, so if you could please do me a favor and just hit that subscribe button real quick for me. You don't understand how much it would help me. But just like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell. Let me know what you think of the old headlight, the monocle. What nickname do you think I should have for it? Maybe help me come up with one. I think the headlight. I just think it's funny. But funny fact, the headlights still do work, which I'm going to show you guys. Both headlights still work. You know why? Because Street Truck, that's why. Every single light on this truck still works, including the headlights. So just all in the little details. But yeah, help me come up with a nickname for the old velocity stack here. Let me know what you guys think, how you think it looks. Yeah, just let me know what you're thinking on the whole truck build so far. What you think what you're hoping for in the future with the truck. And yeah, just let me know how you guys are doing, how you guys are feeling about the truck and everything. So thanks guys for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.